Good morning. The Korean government says the recent series of cyber attacks will not affect operations of the 23 nuclear reactors in the country. The Interview released in theaters. The limited release scores big on the first day and now symbolizes more than it had bargained for. Get a look at this year in entertainment. From celebrity romance to artist collaborations and Korean dramas heading overseas, we sum it all up. And behind the glitz and glam of Hong Kong are the down-to-earth, cute Korean eateries waiting to be checked out on Korea Today, Friday, December 26th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a good Friday morning to you all. Welcome to Korea Today. I'm Kim Min-jung with Kim Young and Jin-ju. Did you guys have a Merry Christmas?
Yeah,
everyone?
It was merry but kind of boring. I just stayed at home.
Bah humbug. Christmas was fabulous. I actually slept in.
Now, it wasn't a white Christmas for us here in Korea, but some people were lucky enough to enjoy some snow at a basketball court. Those who went to watch the SK Knights versus Samsung Thunder's basketball game yesterday.
Oh, that is
and
great.
those cheerleaders as Rudolphs, too.
All right. Well, it sounds like the fans were in for a treat on that game.
That's right.
It must have been a lot of fun. Hope you did have a good Christmas. And we are back on a Friday morning. And to our top story for this morning, Seoul says the recent series of cyber attacks by an anonymous anti-nuclear group will not have any direct effects on the operation of the 23 nuclear reactors in Korea. Following an emergency meeting at the presidential office of Cheongwade on Thursday, Security Chief Kim Kwan-jin emphasized that the control systems for the nuclear facilities are separate from the external system exposed in documents leaked last week. Over the past week, an anti-nuclear group had posted a series of blueprints and manuals on some of Korea's reactors online. It has also threatened to release more documents unless the government shuts down 3 reactors at Gori and Wolseong in the country's southern region. The government has been on emergency standby since, and the presidential office says all countermeasures have been taken to safeguard the nuclear reactors. A joint investigation team said on Wednesday that the hackers were found to have used IP addresses based in China and have asked Chinese authorities for assistance.
Plans are in the works for Korea's prime minister to hold regular meetings with the country's 2 deputy prime ministers starting next week. A government official said Thursday Prime Minister Chung Hong-won has suggested holding regular talks with Choi Kyung-hwan and Hwang Woo-yeol, who also head the ministries of finance and education, respectively. The 3 officials will sit down for their first meeting next Tuesday to discuss state affairs and details on their future gatherings, which will likely focus on enhancing cooperation and communication among ministries. The need for better collaboration on state affairs was raised when the ferry tragedy in April brought to light the lack of communication within the government.
And spending by tourists who visit Korea has hit a new record this year, according to a poll conducted by the Korea Culture and Tourism Institute. On Thursday, the institute released its findings based on surveys carried out on some 9,000 visitors from January to September, which showed that foreign tourist spending per capita this year set a record high at roughly $900. This far exceeds the rough $775 from last year. Public think tanks attribute the record high figure to spending from Chinese tourists. The number of Chinese visitors coming to Korea is expected to top 6 million this year, up nearly 39% from 2013, thanks to improved tourism infrastructure and easing of visa regulations. The Korean consulate in China said the number of visas issued to Chinese nationals increased by 60% from last year and reached an unprecedented 800,000.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers now. You heard earlier on from Young. Well, we'll begin with the latest updates regarding the hacking of staff information and secret data of the Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power. There are some more details regarding this incident on 중앙일보. So we'll take a look at this. It says Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power choked with thousands of email bombs. Now we'll take a look at these sub-headlines here. It's being presumed that because the recent hacking methods were meticulous and the specific target was attacked via emails, what's known as spear phishing, or what they call here as email bombs, seems to have been used, meaning computers were attacked with malicious codes disguised as email messages. And in this case, thousands of emails with 300 embedded malicious codes were sent from China's Shenyang to hundreds of company workers on December 9th. Now, these hackers who released information on the Korean Worsung nuclear power plant, they appear to be the same anonymous anti-nuclear reactor group who posted on Twitter warning to wreak havoc against Korea's nuclear plants starting on Christmas Day, but no such attacks took place yesterday. Now moving on to 조선일보 to have a look at this headline here on a multinational city. This article is called "Seeking to Build Multinational City by Two Koreas, China and Russia on Tumangang River." First taking a look at this image, this is the Tumangang River right here. The 500-kilometer-long Tumangang River flows along the border between North Korea, China, and Russia into the East Sea, and the South Korean government is seeking to push forth a multinational project to boost economic cooperation between these countries as part of its plans to build an economic belt around the river. Looking at these sub-headlines here, the Project of Hope is aimed to induce North Korea's cooperation and opening of markets to create a win-win situation for the whole of Northeast Asia. Authorities say a plan detailing the project will be announced in the coming January. Now over on to 동아일보 for a look at this headline here towards the bottom. And this one is about the CSAT, or the 수능 exam. It says absolute scale to be applied to English test scores for the 2018 CSAT. Now, the Ministry of Education said yesterday that it will adopt an absolute scale for English scores in the College Scholastic Ability Test, or the 수능 exam, discarding the relative scale system. The plan is part of its effort to relieve excessive competition among students for high scores, which also has been resulting in higher spending on private education. However, when we take a look at this sub-headline, there are also concerns that this could mean students don't need to study English as much as they do now, resulting in a general degrading of students' English ability. The paper adds that it may also become harder for colleges to distinguish between those students who truly have good English abilities and those who do not. And wrapping up with a look at the Korea Economic Daily for the top story here. And this one's on public institutions, and the title says public institutions to reduce the number of executives. Taking a look at the article closer, the government is pushing to transform the promotion and evaluation system at government institutions, as well as lowering the ratio of executives who are in the third rank or higher at these organizations. The system of annual salary based on performance will also be extended to be applied to all employees instead of just management level executives. And that was a look at our local headlines for this Friday. The stock markets were closed yesterday for Christmas. So right back to you guys, Young and Minjung.
All right, thank you, Sungyeon, for that. Lots of stories on the newspapers this morning. Time now, though, to get a check on the weather on this post-Christmas day. All
right, post-Christmas day, we do have that work day in between, but we do have the weekend up ahead, so we'll see what's in it for the weekend. We'll go to Chun Sung-cho, who joins us from the cold outdoors.
Good morning to you, Sung-cho.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm reporting live from Hangang Park. Did y'all have a great Christmas break? This morning, you should brace for a cold snap that's dropped temperatures as low as -10 degrees Celsius across the country. A mess of frigid air is lingering in the upper atmosphere, freezing the entire country. Cold wave advisories have been issued in the upper part of the central regions and a couple of interior sections of Chungcheongbuk-do and Gyeongsangbuk-do provinces. Right now, here in Seoul, mercury levels are hovering around -6.5 degrees Celsius, with the wind chill making it feel more like -9. You should definitely bundle up on your way out this morning. But no worries, things will warm up and the cold snap will go away tomorrow with warm westerly winds blowing. We also have a high pressure system over the West Sea that will bring in nice and clear conditions all throughout the weekend. With that, let's take a closer look at today's temperature readings. Midday highs range from 3 to 8 nationwide, with Seoul being the coldest and Jeju being the warmest. Next week on Wednesday, which is the last day of this year, heavy snowfalls are in store for us all across the country. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Enjoy the last weekend of the year, everyone.
The much-anticipated Christmas Day release of the movie The Interview in the U.S. has proceeded without a hitch and sold out completely in the independent theaters that chose to show it. We'll connect with our Cha Mina for more on the first day of the movie's limited release. Good morning to you, Mina.
Good morning to you, Minjung.
Now, so here's a case where all the drama and hype surrounding this comic film have really done the movie good, seeing that it sold out in independent theaters.
That's right, Minjung. Here's a case. Reports say the film was shown in over 320 small independent movie theaters across the U.S. on Thursday, with many of the screenings having sold out the day before, as the controversy over the film made it front-page news around the world. One moviegoer was reported to have attended a Los Angeles screening, saying it normally wouldn't be her movie of choice. However, she came out to see it to stand up for freedom of speech. The film was also made available for rental or sale online in the U.S., but no sales figures were immediately revealed. Meanwhile, the online release of the interview hit some bumps. Reports say some customers were unable to load or pay for the film on Sony's own seetheinterview.com site, and separately, users of Sony's PlayStation and Microsoft's Xbox Live game services complained of some service problems. A group of hackers identifying themselves as Lizard Squad claimed responsibility for some of the outages. The father of the Jordanian pilot who was captured by Islamic State on Wednesday has pleaded for mercy and the release of his son. Speaking to local media in the Jordanian capital Amman Thursday, Yusuf al-Qasasbeh described his son as a guest among brothers in Syria Islamic State and urged his hosts to treat him well. The 26-year-old pilot Maz al-Qasasbeh was carrying out airstrikes against IS bases in the Raqqa region of Syria and was taken hostage after his plane went down. The pilot is the first known military member to be captured from the international coalition that has been waging a bombing campaign against IS for months. Meanwhile, in regards to what caused the plane to crash near that IS stronghold is still unclear. Although IS initially claimed it had downed the aircraft, the U.S. military said in a statement that clear evidence showed that the terrorist group did not take down that plane.
Now, though Christmas is winding down for most of the world now, it came quite early for some in Hong Kong when a van accidentally spewed out cash worth some 35 million Hong Kong dollars. That's roughly $4.5 million US dollars. And there are conflicting figures on the amount of money spilled, but do tell us more about this incredible story.
That's right. This is an interesting one. A traffic accident on Wednesday afternoon immediately saw bystanders sprinting to the scene to pick up the cash flying about. We heard media reports say the money transport van owned by securities firm G4S had a faulty rear gate, which led to that incident. Police have estimated that about $2 million US dollars went missing and encouraged those who picked up any money from the scene to return it, warning that taking it was a very serious crime and could result in a 10-year prison term.
I kind of wish I were there to just to watch, not to pick up any money. Just to watch. All right. Well, thank you for that update, Mina.
My pleasure, Minjung.
All right. Well, still to come on Korea today. As we get closer to the end of the year, we're going to look at what stories in the entertainment industry turned heads, dropped jaws, and broke some hearts as well. From celebrity romance to artist collaborations and Korean dramas heading overseas, we got them all. So stay tuned.
And as you heard at the top of the hour, the number of Chinese tourists have been on the rise, but tourism in general have been seeing quite a boost. Many factors, including promotional videos like the one made by our guest this morning, may have played a factor in drawing you closer to a trip here. Now, joining us is the creator of a time-lapse video of Seoul, which has grabbed a lot of attention. Noe Alonso, good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Alonso, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, my name is Noe Alonso. I'm from Texas. I moved to Korea in 2011 as an English teacher, And being here has made me grow like kind of my passion, which is photography. So.
Okay. So photography and also videography. Now we have the video playing right behind us as we speak. This is the time-lapse video that you created for a period of 3 years. Now there was a lot of talent and time and effort that went into it. How did it all come together?
Well, it started with an idea. First, I wanted to create something to promote Korea. As you know, there's many tourism videos, but I felt that I could do probably a better job about it. And then secondly, I've always been fond of projects, especially long-term projects.
So where did the drive come from? What did you see that was maybe lacking, or what did you think that you could do better?
Well, I saw that most videos that were focused on what Koreans like, and there wasn't much that was what foreigners like. So I wanted something to appeal to people outside Korea that was not just for Koreans, but for others.
All right, so the local clips as well as the videos, promotional videos that we have, it does show a viewpoint that us Koreans may see and want to present to foreign tourists, but this was something a little bit different, right? What do you think was some of the factors, the viewpoints? Can you give us on a more detailed basis what the viewpoints that you wanted to present were, what you saw differently?
Okay, well, most of the time I see that Koreans want to focus on the more traditional aspects of Korea, but what I like is the busy nightlife or things like street food. And as you can see in my video, I focus a lot on the dynamic changes between day and night. So that was an extra layer to show how quick Korea changes.
I mean, let's talk about some of these angles over here, because we're seeing them and they're from spots that you can't really go on top of normally. How are you able to get the permits to shoot from these areas?
That's the thing, you don't get permits.
Okay.
I think if I were to ask formally to be able to get on these spots, most people would reject me. And in some cases, I did ask and I was rejected. So out of all these clips, there's only one that allowed me to do it formally.
Okay, so these aren't are your normal average spots where you can take photographs from?
That's correct.
It must have been very difficult to get that now. A lot of people, I'm sure, have been able to become more attracted to Seoul through these clips, and I heard that you're working on some other projects that are in the near future for releases.
That's correct. I'm thinking of doing a time-lapse of all of Korea, focusing mostly on the mountainsides and its natural beauty.
All right, so can you give us the viewers some recommendations that you may have, because you did mention some viewpoints, but if a person was supposed to be here on maybe a 5-day trip or something, or maybe a 2-week trip, what are some not to miss spots? What are some places that you'd like to recommend as Zoe Alonso?
Well, one of my favorite spots is Ihwa Muro Village. That's near Haewa. So it's got lots of photo opportunities, lots of colors, and afterwards you can take a trail, Naksan Wall, right? Secondly, are you familiar with Paltang Dam?
Of course.
So there's a nice bicycling.
It's a bicycle road that heads all the way over to, I believe, Chuncheon. It passes through the Paltang Bridge, right?
Yes.
The dam, excuse me.
And also, there's an area called Goshichon between Shilim and Seoul National University. The cost there is very low. As you know, it's a student area, but they have some of the most delicious food available.
Okay, the Goshichon is the area where there are lots of people studying for a certain exam to hold government positions. Now, that's one area that a lot of people aren't really promoting, for example, but you actually recommend this spot because of the eateries there.
Yeah, I used to live near the area and I would go there frequently.
All right, well, sounds great. Noe, thank you so much for joining us this morning and telling us about your video as well as your viewpoint of Seoul.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That was videographer Noe Alonso joining us this morning. And still ahead on Korea Today, our second special, we bring you the streets of Hong Kong. Behind the glitz and glam of the city are the down-to-earth and cute Korean eateries waiting to be checked out. Joe McPherson brings you another round of Korean taste from the vibrant city.
The Korean government announced its new tax code revision yesterday, and a notable thing was that it decided to delay taxing clergy or members of religious groups for another year.
And this decision has polarized many on the internet, and our Seo Mi-sorang joins us to tell us what they have to say. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. So the original plan was to impose income tax on clergy members starting next year after 50 years of being exempt. But after strong opposition from certain religious groups, this plan has been delayed to next year, as you mentioned, because some even call the move quote-unquote religious persecution. The Finance Ministry decided to put it off and encourage voluntary reporting until 2016. So let's see what people had to say. Taxing the clergy is akin to taxing charity organizations. Religion shouldn't meddle with state affairs, and the state shouldn't meddle with religious affairs. On the other side of the argument, taxation should be equal for everyone. Where there is income, there is tax. Isn't this the basic principle? And even the Bible says, give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
So many watchers are saying that it won't happen during the Park Geun-hye administration, the taxation on clergy or members of religious groups.
Right, they're saying that even in 2016 it might not happen because next year we have the general elections, and then the year after that in 2017 we have the presidential elections. So we'll just have to see how it pans out. And also announced yesterday, the Fair Trade Commission released the sales commission of department stores and TV home shopping channels. So they looked at 7 department stores and 6 home shopping channels and found that the average sales commission this year for department stores was 28%, while that for home shopping channels was 34%, so slightly lower than those of last year.
So how does it affect the average consumer? Would be the question.
For us, right. So what these sales commissions are, for example, if they're 30%, it means that what's sold to us is $100, they will get $30 off that. So lower sales commission means lower prices for us and lower profits for department stores.
Okay. So will we feel the effects of this?
Probably not, unfortunately, because we're talking about 0.1% of a decline.
So minimal.
Minimal, very marginal. And over 1,000 documents have related to the so-called comfort women issue have been designated as state records, which means that the government will support their preservation, restoration, and computerization. There are 1,065 items related to the Japanese imperial military sexual enslavement of women before and during the World War II, including medical records, artworks from art therapy, as well as audio and video recordings of testimonies given by the victims. And all of these items were previously owned by a university professor and the Daegu Citizen for Halmoni. And wrapping up, I have some images to show you of Samsung's new budget phone, the Samsung Z.
Wow, and all ears on this one.
Unfortunately, they're not the official photos. They're actually leaked photos from a private event held in India, but they do show us, a basic gist of what it will look like. So pretty similar to existing smartphones out there. Now, the basic specs, the basic specifications. Now, to give a point of reference, I've compared it to iPhone 6 and the Galaxy S5. So as you can see, connectivity, we only have 3G, no LTE, so it's going to be slow. Screen resolution and camera, both very low compared to other phones out there. And internal storage as well, very limited. So it's a very basic low-end phone, no frills, and it's going to be sold for under $100 US.
Under $100 US. That's quite a cheap price.
Right.
It's a very basic entry model.
What does the Z stand for? I always have questions about these letters.
I will call Samsung and then get back to you on that.
Zen one or something, right? Will this model be available in other countries? I mean, still no
We're not
official
sure.
word.
So there are rumors that it will be launched January 18th in India and other developing countries, but Samsung hasn't confirmed this. They've been very mum about it. They'll probably, I'm assuming that they will do a big launch after the CES next month in Vegas. So we'll just have to see exactly when and for how much.
And what that Z stands for. All right, thank you so much, Ms. Orang.
You're welcome.
And TGI Friday, everyone, as we kick things off in rhythmic gymnastics, where Korea's very own Son Yeon-jae took center stage at the FIG homepage as one of the shining stars of rhythmic gymnastics in 2014. Now, with the International Gymnastics Federation listing some of the biggest stories of 2014 in gymnastics, they listed 20-year-old Son Yeon-jae as one of the biggest stories, especially in April and September of this year. The article stated that she made Korean history when she won 4 of 5 gold medals at the Lisbon World Cup in April and also won Korea's first ever medal at the World Championships when she took bronze in the hoop competition, followed by Korea's first gold medal at the Incheon Asian Games in September. And now shifting over to baseball this time, where the average salary in the Korea Baseball Organization was revealed, showing an increase from last season. Now, according to a report issued by the KBO, the average salary in the KBO this season was 106,380,000 won, or a little more than $96,000. Despite the average being far lower than the major leagues, it is the first time that the league's average salary broke the 100 million won mark. Now, currently, Major League averages a little more than $3.8 million, 40 times more than the KBO's average, while Japan's MPB averages just 3 times more than the KBO. Now, for athletes in the nation who need to go through the mandatory military service can still play for the military team as long as you play sports like football, baseball, ice hockey, and a few more sports. But now they plan to add a sledding team starting in 2015. Now, with the success of the Korean bobsledding team and skeleton sledder Yoon Sung-bin, sledding teams will be added for the first time starting in 2015. An official at the Ministry of Defense stated that bobsleigh, skeleton, and luge teams will be formed in April of 2015 as the nation hopes to improve the sledding sports in preparations for the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Games. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Now, today is our last entertainment segment of the year. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? No, I can't.
Next Friday is already 2015. So we have a wrap-up of the stories that made headlines on the entertainment front this year. And joining us is Debbie Won. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me. So this year, we had a lot of head-turning stories in the entertainment scene. And today, I've prepared a wrap-up or the highlights of this year. Let's take a look. From an endless stream of celebrity couples and romance to the Korean drama boom that swept up China, 2014 was packed with head-turning news on the entertainment front, and today we bring you a wrap-up for the year. One of the most noticeable trends was the bountiful stories of celebrity romance. It was a year with an extraordinary number of couples making news, and leading the pack was everyone's favorite, Girls' Generation or 소녀시대. Yoona, who is known for her cute and innocent image, kicked off the new year admitting that she's dating actor Lee Seung-gi.
씨에게 좀 여쭤볼게요. 오랫동안 알고 지낸 선배 오빠가 농담 반 진담 반으로 자꾸 나를 이상형으로 지목하는 거예요. 이럴 때 이게 관심 있는 거예요, 아닌 거예요?
Then there's Tiffany, who also admitted to dating boy band 2PM's Nikun.
언제부터 만난 거예요?
The two were spotted cheering for each other at a recent music awards, warming up the viewers' hearts as a handsome couple. But of course, what surprised people the most was the girl group's leader, Taeyeon, going out with EXO's Baekhyun. This couple drew much attention, not just because Taeyeon is older, but also because the two became the first couple within the same agency, SM Entertainment.
Idol stars have been enjoying going public with their relationships these days. They like exposure and don't mind it when it comes to their personal lives, and are active about being open about things. So in that sense, they now openly discuss it and help fans accept it.
Meanwhile, an idol singer even tied the knot this year, and that would be Super Junior's Seungmin. On December 13th, he married musical actress Kim Si-eun, becoming the first married K-pop star who is currently active in the scene. There's also Chinese goddess Tang Wei, who tied the knot with Korean director Kim Tae-yong after working with him on the film Late Autumn. Korea's Cherim also got married to Chinese actor Kao Zi-ki, adding to the international celebrity couples list. Another trend for this past year was the growing number of collaboration projects between celebrities. There were a lot of couples on stage heating up the scene with great chemistry. For instance, sisters Soyu and Jung Gi-go opened the doors with their mega hit duet Some. It captured the unspoken feelings of interest between two potential lovers, even creating a new slang called Some from the title. The song stayed in the charts for an extended 3 months, which was the longest period this year and took home an annual music award for its popularity. Following this was Orange Caramel's Reina, sisters Hyorin, A-Pink's Chung Eun-ji, as well as a number of other male-female collaborations throughout the year. Some of the most established stars also took part in this trend, with Rain teaming up with trot legend Taejina for a song titled La Song, offering a pleasant surprise for the fans. The song 소격동, written and produced by Korea's iconic pop star Seo Tae-ji and sung by IU, got some attention as well. There were 2 different versions of this song, one sung by IU and the other by Seo Tae-ji, offering a new experience for the fans. But the fact that Seo Tae-ji, who's kept a low-key and mysterious image, has teamed up with another artist for the first time since his debut 22 years ago was what created most of the buzz.
This year, a lot of artists who are making comebacks or trying different things collaborated with others. These projects help draw more interest from the public and help the artists reach out more easily.
However, it wasn't all great throughout the year, as 2014 came with its share of unfortunate news. One of the most shocking news for K-pop fans was idol members breaking off from their groups. For instance, global sensation EXO lost 2 of its members, devastating a huge number of their followers. Chris and Luhan, who are both from China, are now active in their home country but no longer a part of EXO. Meanwhile, Girls' Generation, now into their 8th year, also lost their member Jessica. After having fingers pointed at her for not being fully on board with the group after launching her personal fashion brand and other projects, Jessica had to leave the team. And Black also said goodbye to members Ijun and Cheondung. Ijun decided to pursue his acting career after his chilling performance in TV drama 갑동이 in the beginning of this year. He has been quite active on screen ever since.
If they're interested in going solo, making a transition into acting, or venturing into business, and they think the group's identity or image doesn't go well with them, they'll leave the group, and we've been seeing more of these cases.
Another heartbreaking news as the country mourned for the loss of rock legend Shin Hae-chul, who was known not only for popularizing the genre of rock in Korea, but his views and sharp opinions on social issues. He also had a large following of younger generations acting as their mentor, and this is why his passing was even more devastating to many. The last of the trends defining this year's entertainment scene would be the new wave of Korean dramas that took off. From earlier this year, the drama My Love from the Star stirred up a Cheonsonghi sensation in the country. The main character is played by superstars Chun Ji-hyun and Kim Soo-hyun, combined with a hybrid genre of fantasy, melodrama, and thriller, took on other countries, especially mainland China. Chun Ji-hyun, who played the role of an eccentric top celebrity Chun Song-hee, became known as a walking billboard, with anything on or around her selling out like hotcakes.
치킨 좀 시켜봐라, 맥주하고.
With this famous line from the drama, Chun Song-hee created a new trend of chimek or fried chicken and beer in China, even when its market was struggling from effects of a bird flu. The chimek boom underscored just how big a hit the drama had become.
The popularity of Korean dramas is shown in the prices of their exports. One episode used to be sold for an average of $10,000 until last year, but this year, the numbers have gone up, with drama Pinocchio setting a new record of $280,000 per episode, the highest price yet.
On the other hand, some dramas turned out to be major flops despite casting top stars. For example, My Lovely Girl starred top Hallyu names Rain and Crystal from FX, but its ratings remained in the miserable 3% range. Iconic Hallyu stars Choi Ji-woo and Kwon Sang-woo also took on the small screen with Temptation, which was their first pair-up in 11 years since Stairway to Heaven. But after some initial buzz, the show lost its steam as well.
The greatest reason is that people don't tune in just because there are big names on the show anymore. For dramas that don't have strong storylines and are not up to par in quality, viewers are turning their backs against them.
The year was definitely a busy one with so many happenings, and we'll be following more as it unfolds in the new year.
Definitely a lot of eye-catching stories this year.
For sure.
And one thing I want to add to this report is about the new idol groups from the country's major entertainment companies making their debut this year, and they were quite successful, right?
They were, and a lot of them are actually from the three major entertainment agencies, and they're of course SM, JYP, and YG. So we had groups like Red Velvet from SM and GOT7 from JYP, and of course Winner from YG making a splash as newcomers in the K-pop industry, and they're also seen as the new leaders for the next generation of K-pop.
Okay, well, it looks like Winner really did well. My wife has Winner pretty much on repeat, so I've just been listening to all their songs.
One of my favorite
It's driving me crazy now.
One of her favorites.
No, Winner is very good, right? But then I think when it comes to new artists, we were seeing the trend of they have to pay their dues no matter which company they're from. Even groups like EXO, their first album, it wasn't as big. It was with their second album where they really blew up to be at the status that they're at today. Now, speaking of artists, coming back artists were very much filled with news of that, right?
Right, that's right. So we had some OGs of K-pop, or established artists rather, like Kim Dong-ryul, Toy, and Im Chang-jung making their comebacks this year. They all released new albums after a long hiatus. And we had some old groups like G.O.D. and Fly to the Sky also coming back this year. And I think they still got it. You know, they still have a large following. And
it's 10 years older than that.
That's right. And in their 30s now, right?
Yeah. My question sort of is like, are they able to garner the new generation of fans? We're talking the teenage fans and the adolescent fans, the teens, the junior high students, as well as the high school students.
I believe so. I think based on people around me personally, even the younger people who are younger than me, who in their teens or early 20s, actually are following Fly to the Sky and G.O.D. And even though they were even maybe born during the time they were debuting for the first time.
Wow, that's young. That's really young. And Seo also made a comeback, but he didn't do great. It wasn't a great success.
It was interesting.
It made news.
It was interesting how he made that comeback, though, right? IU released the song first.
Right.
It was covered in the report. You know, he starred IU for the first time. It was his first collab with another artist because he's known for his mysterious image. So a lot of fans responded positively to that.
I mean, he's like the real G.O.D. of K-pop.
I believe. He's like the pop icon of Korea.
That's right. But some names that we could recognize, so that was welcome news, or at least on my part. I
can recognize them.
Exactly.
I know them.
I know who they are.
Exactly. And then on the TV drama front, some interesting TV dramas, especially Miseng. We have to talk about Miseng.
Yeah, so that was a rather depressing drama about the Korean corporate life. And about, you know, the office politics, how you have to play by the rules.
What office politics? I don't know about office politics.
I mean, we work in broadcasting, so maybe we don't have to deal with that. But a lot of Korean people related to the drama, so it proved to be very popular.
That's right. And another bit of news that I remember from this year is MC Mong and his return.
Right.
The controversy that ensued.
Right. The rapper MC Mong made his comeback earlier this year after a long hiatus because there was a controversy over his army enlistment.
That's right.
But a lot of fans, I think they took sides. It's like either you were for him or against his comeback. And people are kind of putting their fans on blast too for supporting him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Miss me or diss me.
Right.
Was
Yeah,
the
that's right.
track.
I remember a longtime friend and longtime partner of MC Mong, who tweeted some kind of a message about supporting MC Mong, and he was blasted for that as well.
Yeah, he came under fire for that.
There still is that bit of sort of a lot of haters out there still.
Yeah,
on
a lot of
Instagram.
bitterness, but you know, he still has a lot of supporters as well. So let's just see how it turns out.
That's right. Some good news and bad news, of course, on the entertainment industry, as always. And next year, I'm sure will be much of the same. Hopefully, more good news next year, though.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Debbie, for that.
You're welcome.
난 상관없어요 차가움이 내게 너무 외롭다 나 눈물이 난다 내 인생은 이토록 화려한데
You're in a good mood.
Food.
Dancing to the music.
Food. It's because Joe McPherson, who I keep pronouncing McPherson, is here. Joe McPherson is here, and we're going to be talking more about food and food that's popular in Hong Kong, right?
That's right.
That's why I'm in a good mood.
Right.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. So this is the second of our Hong Kong series. Second of two. So when a lot of people think of Hong Kong, they think of the busy, bustling nature of the city. But today we're going to look at a different side of Hong Kong and the simpler Korean foods that go along with it. So let's take a look at the second part of our two-part series on Korean food in Hong Kong.
You may think of Hong Kong as this ritzy, fast-paced city. And even though it's the busiest port city in the world, there are places where you can sit back, relax, enjoy your surroundings, and have some great food.
So in Hong Kong, if you want a little peace in your day, come out here to Mangmo Temple. It's one of the oldest temples in Hong Kong. And it's a good idea to try to get a little more luck on your trip. For that classic down-home Korean barbecue joint experience, come over here. This is Arirang galmegi. So what's different about Arirang galmegi is that they have this in a what we call yangnam style, which means it's in a type of marinade, and kind of a sweet and salty marinade. And what also makes this special is a very difficult cut to find in Hong Kong and many other places outside of Korea. And the reason being, it's a very special skirt steak cut. And what's funny about this is the name galmegi actually means seagull. OMG. You can see why people in Hong Kong are falling in love with it. So, got another cut of pork for you. This is gopdaegi, which is pork rind or pig skin. Yeah. So this, when you cook it up like this, it ends up with a really chewy texture, which makes it really popular with the locals and with Koreans. And what makes this place different is they don't really do much. They don't pre-boil or anything like that to the pork skin. They actually just have it straight up. And so it has a very fresh, very unique taste to it. Check this guy out. Very kind of like fatty, kind of like almost like chewing gum, but a little firmer than that. Kind of waxy. The skin is the tastiest part. tired of all the bustling shopping malls, you can go down streets like this, really unique mom and pop shops. It's kind of like going down the back alleys of Seoul. We're in a taxi zipping through downtown. Another dish that's really popular among young people in Hong Kong is fried chicken and beer. That's called chimek in Korea, or chicken and mekju. Mekju means beer. And the TV show My Love from the Star made this dish very popular not only in China but in Hong Kong as well. And this hip, trendy place, Chum Chummy, combines the best of Korean and Hong Kong flavors. The secret to this place's success is that they marinate this chicken in 12 different spices for more than 24 hours. And also what's popular is this yangnam chicken, or the chicken with the sauce on it, because this sauce is like a perfect mixture of spicy and sweet and garlicky. And it's so popular that people try to request this sauce on its own to put on their own regular fried chicken. I'm gonna try some myself. And it's gotta go perfectly with beer. One dish that's very popular is budae-jjigae, army-based stew, which is a stew full of very surprising ingredients, traditionally with spam and sausage, but it looks like with hot dogs, but it looks like it's been upgraded quite a bit here. And a lot of tables start with this dish. Now, because it is packed full of flavor with a nice spicy kick, it's usually very popular with young people because it's light on the wallet. And a little difference between Hong Kong and Korea is Korea, we tend to cook the dish from scratch right in front of us. Well, in Hong Kong, they prefer to have the dish cooked in the back and then brought up here and then, like you see, boiling right in front of you. So this was not at all what I was expecting. I really knew that there are all these great lights here in Hong Kong and it's really bustling streets. But we had so much fun shooting here, especially all the great food, including Korean food, and the local food has been great. And just the diverse things you can do around here, you got a lot in store.
Wow, you had a lot of fun in Hong Kong. You brought back some food.
Right,
for us.
right.
That big old Kool-Aid smile on my face.
So we're actually cooking in the studio, having a little grill going on right now. What you're having, the meat right there is gwamegi-sa.
Gwamegi-sa, right.
Gwamegi's a fish. Yeah, gwamegi-sa. It's I call it more like a pork skirt steak. It's around the diaphragm of the pig. It's one of my favorite cuts.
Can you eat it already?
Oh, thank you. No, it's cooked. It's cooked. Trust me.
Oh, thanks,
okay.
thanks.
Trust me. You want pork medium rare.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay,
you want it well cooked.
So tell us a little bit about the gwamegi-sa.
Gwamegi, well, as opposed to, if you know a little bit of Korean, it is not seagull.
Yeah.
It is. Now, I've heard it's been called that because when it's cut, it's kind of in the shape of a seagull.
Oh, is that why?
Mm-hmm. But what I like it's even though it's pork, it looks and tastes a lot like beef.
Yeah, it does, that area, right? You might be wondering, some Westerners might be thinking, all right, you guys are using scissors to cut up meat, you know, are you supposed to use a fork and a steak knife? In Korea, this is our steak knife, and this is the most innovative thing. When I first saw it at a Korean barbecue, I was like, oh my gosh. This just is so well.
Scissors make so much more sense.
Perfecto.
I think it's one of Korea's greatest culinary contributions to the world.
Thank you, thank you.
And this is pig skin.
Yeah, you're cutting up pig skin, pork rinds, as we tend to call it in the South. Now, in the past, I've usually had pork skin fried and like chicharron.
Shinji's been asking for this just all day.
Yeah, but in Koreans tend to like chewy textures a lot.
Yeah,
I've noticed. And we tend to grill it here in Korea. It's kind of a, how would you describe it? Like waxy type of texture?
It's
gummy. Gummy's a good word for it.
It's kind of like a gummy bear, right?
You eat it more for the texture, if anything.
But the thing is that a lot of people think that just because it's associated with pork and it's the skin area, we're thinking chicken skin, high in calories, fat, and this and that. But pork skin actually is really good for you and filled with plenty of protein.
Collagen.
Collagen.
Good for women.
Why is only collagen good for women?
No,
I can't have good
skin. Also.
Do tell us more.
That's basically, it's full of collagen, and you got to watch it really quickly. When you're grilling it, don't grill it too much. It gets really hard really fast, so you got to be careful with that. Hit and miss. Some people love it, other people not so much, but I kind of like it quite a bit. It looks like you guys like it.
The perfect combination was soju.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
It's funny how all roads lead to that.
All right, and the fried chicken. We have to talk about the fried chicken. It's become so popular. My father-in-law now talks about chimek, except he says it chickmek. I don't know where the
chickmek. That makes sense.
That makes sense. That's kind of cute, huh?
Makes sense. Yeah, chimek, which means chicken, and mekju. Mekju is beer. Great combination. Another great contribution Korea has given to the world, I would say. Now, since it is a little early in the morning, we are skipping the mek of the chimek. No beer with us today, but we have two types. We have basic fried, and then we have yangnam.
Yeah, it's seasoned, but the seasoning is something that you've never tried before. I can't really compare it to anything. Can you compare it for us, Joe?
And sour.
Oh goodness, yeah, it is sweet and spicy. A little bit. Yeah, you're right. A little bit of sourness. It's usually a gochujang base with lots of garlic. Lots of garlic in that, and usually some sweetness. Usually, I would say a malt syrup used for sweetness. Usually, and everyone has a different way of making it. But yangnam still has the key sweetness and garlickiness that goes with that. And the way Korean chicken is fried, it still tends to be crispy, even though it's loaded down with sauce.
It was really hard to choose between just fried chicken and seasoned fried chicken.
People always end up arguing over fried chicken or just, and then yangnam chicken.
That's why you order pan.
Yeah,
half and half every time.
Some of Korea's contributions, the half and half chicken, the half and half, when you can't decide between jjajangmyeon and jjampong.
Oh yeah, I just did that the other day.
And that's exactly what happens with the pig skin here. Sometimes it pops, snaps, and crackles. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
Let's see what the judges scored on that one.
They're telling us to say goodbye.
I guess so. All right. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you.
For coming and sharing with us. All right. Well, this is where we say goodbye, right? No thanks. Not after seeing that explosion.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. We'll see you back here on Monday morning at 7 a.m.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.